Welcome, everyone, to Northampton Neighbors Speaker Series. I'm Mark Carpel. I'm on the board of Northampton Neighbors, and I'm part of the group that puts this series together. I am delighted to be introducing today's speaker, Kelsey Flynn, who will talk about and show us improvisation in action and its often surprising benefits. But before I do that, I want to share a coming attraction and say a word about logistics for today's event. On Friday, May 5th, our speaker will be Sophie Burnham, the author of 15 books, including 2 New York Times bestsellers, who has given talks on TV in the US and abroad. Her topic is Angels and Ghosts I Have Known. And she will answer questions that include, but are not limited to, what's the difference between an angel and a spirit or ghost? Why do they appear at some times and not others? Why more to women than men? To children more than adults? I think it's going to be fascinating, and we hope you'll join us for that. So let me introduce Kelsey. Kelsey Flynn is an improviser and stand-up comic who's performed all over the Pioneer Valley and beyond. She's laughed with audiences at a former Chinese restaurant in Hadley, at Caroline's on Broadway, and many in American Legion in between. Kelsey also teaches stand-up storytelling art at Happier Valley Comedy and runs an open mic there on the 3rd Friday of every month. Sometimes you can still hear her on 93.9 The River, WRSI FM. She lives with her wife and 2 kids in Northampton. And in our Florida-like weather today, Kelsey is actually coming to us from Florida. I got to know Kelsey when she agreed to be one of the Grandish Marshals for the Doozy Doo Parade. And in that capacity, she was hearty, enthusiastic, flexible, very good-natured and quick to help, and really, really funny. And when we did a radio spot plugging the parade on RSI, Bill Dwight, Kelsey, Diane, and myself, I was really impressed with her ability to seemingly effortlessly orchestrate the 4 of us to explain the event and invite participation. She'd give me a look that meant start talking. And when I, as a complete radio novice, started to go on too long, she'd managed to find a millisecond of silence to seamlessly move the conversation on to another topic or another person. And I thought, wow, what a pro. Kelsey, take it away.
Gosh, Mark. Thank you very much. Like not even my mother could have done a better introduction, and she really loved me. That really meant a lot. Thank you, because it means a lot to be here with everyone at Northampton Neighbors, and I want to thank you all for joining me on a gorgeous. I know the weather is Florida-like up there too, so, and I'm in between pool time and beach time with the kids, so it works out perfect. So, okay, I'm going back to gallery view, guys. As much as I love staring at my face, I really love looking at all of your faces. And so I've been doing improv comedy for, golly, about 30 plus years. I started in college. My first year, I was at Smith. And that first year was the first year their improv troupe started, the Smith Improv Comedy, spelled with a K, organization. They are called themselves the Sickos, and they still exist to this day. So I'm pretty excited about that. If improv comedy is not a part of your vernacular, I will explain that if you've ever seen the show Whose Line Is It Anyway on television, that is improv comedy. If you have not, essentially, I get up on stage, usually with 1 or more people, and we make up what we do on the spot with audience members. We just ask for anything from a location to an emotion. Right now, every month, the first Saturday of the month, I perform an improvised musical with 4 close friends, and we get up on stage and we get the name of maybe the character, one of the characters in the musical, and the name of a song that might show up in the play. In the musical, but not that anyone's heard before. And then we get started. We don't have anything else that we work with in terms of structure or anything. And we just kind of go. And I've realized over the 30 years that I've been performing improv, that there are a couple of skills that help make improv easier, that I also rely on a lot in my day-to-day life. So another important fact about improv comedy, especially in Western Massachusetts, is you usually can't make a living performing it. So I find that my skills that I use in improv comedy help me a lot, especially in the workplace, whether that workplace was the radio station when I used to do the morning show on the river, or a long time ago on RNX. And now I'm in corporate communications, and that it's very helpful in that regard too. So two skills in particular that happen in improv are listening without judgment and staying present with what's happening right now. So for example, if somebody comes onto the stage that we've just walked onto the stage together, and my scene partner looks at me and goes, "Hey, Santa, you've put on a little weight. You're ready for the big night." So despite my gender presentation and my lanky look, I have been told I am Santa. So in that moment, for the purpose of our scene, it does me no good to say, "What are you talking about? Who? Me? You know, I've got to embrace, like, someone just told me that's who I am, and that's what I'm going to do with it." So, oh yeah, you're right, Jingles. I guess I better get down to it. So being in that place of non-judgment, not looking at what they just said as that doesn't work, or that is not going to help us, or I'm panicked because I don't know what to do. I have to put all of that away so that we can move together and come to some sort of new place together. And that's what's so awesome about improv, is that you get to start off in a complete white space and just put all your cares away. And I know some people are like, "Oh my God, standing up in front of people and not knowing what you're going to say." Listen, they came to an improv show. That's what they're getting. It's not like I'm showing up at a, state dinner, but at the same time, it's like, I don't have to worry about anything else in that moment besides what we are going to create together. And I think when I take that space for the improv and bring it into my work world, which is just a regular, office setting, a lot of cubbies that I sit at, and still come into a meeting where there's some real strong opinion about what needs to be decided, staying right in that moment instead of looking back on maybe the last meeting that we came together and said, "Oh, last time we were here, he really blew his top. I wonder if he's going to do that again," or worrying about the future. I just try to keep it right in the moment of what is happening, and then go with this idea of what I'm going to listen to. I'm going to try to not have an opinion about, and try to see where we can go together with it. So listening without judgment, not only to the person in the room, but also to myself, because I feel like we can listen with a lot of judgment to ourselves a lot, and especially in a meeting space, where there could be a lot of, like, from my experience, I'll go into a meeting and sometimes I feel very intimidated or overwhelmed, and the voices in my head are saying, "You don't know what you're talking about. You are not the most informed person. You better keep it shut." And even that voice I have to listen to with, like, listen without judgment to me when I have the idea, like when the thing comes up, like, "Hey, this could work," and saying yes to my voice of that idea instead of the judgment voices that are going to come all around. So, so listening without judgment and staying in the moment and trying not to just jump ahead or jump behind is the kind of the basis of improv, of just being together in that space and seeing what you can build together. And I think that puts us into a good space for bringing on our 2 volunteers at this point. So I'd like to welcome Jane Fleisman, Diane Porcella to the stage, to our virtual stage.
Woohoo! I love it.
Yeah, welcome to you both. Now, this is to everyone watching at home, which is all of us. This is going to be a 3-round experience. So this isn't necessarily something we would perform on a stage, this exercise, but it is an exercise that we start to play around with early on in improv. And again, it's not something performed, but it really helps you use that muscle that is the yes muscle versus the no. We really exercise our no muscle a lot as humans, because frankly, it's kept us alive for millennia, is to know when something feels safe or unsafe. And yeah, being in front of people can feel very unsafe, but physically we are. So practicing this yes muscle is what helps us get more and more in that space and makes it a lot easier over time. So the first time we are going to, well, the whole time, this is what's happening. Diane, Jane, you two get to plan the next Northampton Neighbors gathering.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Gonna brainstorm all ideas, throw them out there. Jane, you're gonna offer your idea first. So Jane and Diane are gonna have a conversation to plan this next gathering.
Okay.
So Jane, as the first person, person A, she's gonna throw out her idea. And Diane, as the person B, she's gonna answer her idea with no, because. And then Jane's gonna offer, keep building, keep wanting to keep selling it, Jane, keep selling that idea. But every time, Diane, you're gonna reply with no, because. And we'll just see where you get. All right, you ready? And we'll do it a few times and then we'll flip it. I'll tell you, all right, thank you, Jane. All right, and then I'll flip it to Diane. All right, so go, Jane.
Okay, Diane, I have this really cool idea. Why don't we have the next gathering of Northampton Neighbors in the Galapagos Islands? Would that be so cool? We could fly to Quito. Amazing.
No, because there's a lot of our neighbors who are afraid of turtles.
Well, we could probably do something about that. I mean, we could maybe put, I don't know, bandanas on people's heads a little bit low so they don't see the turtles.
No, because in addition to being afraid of the turtles, there's the question of the new real IDs and passports that all of us would need to, get to the Galapagos.
Oh, that's a good point. But, Lonesome George has died. So the biggest, oldest turtle isn't even there anymore. But I see what you're saying about the real IDs. But I think they've also extended that another year because not too many people were doing it. I don't know. I tried to get mine and I didn't have the right documentation. So I'm not sure that's really the biggest problem. I was thinking you were going to say money was a big problem, and I had an idea. We could do some grant writing, Diane. Wouldn't that be great if our executive director could? Oh, wait, that's you.
No, no, because, as we all know so well, Jane, money is really no object for Northampton.
I know.
The sky is our
right.
limit there. But I think, more to the point is, I think, this idea of the okay, the real reason is I can't say Galapagos.
Perfect. Thank you, Jane. I love that idea.
That's great, Diane.
We're gonna flip it. So Diane, you sell your idea now. So Jane can reply with no, because.
Okay. So Jane, thanks for taking this call. And I had this idea that, our next gathering for Northampton Neighbors could actually be in Boston.
I don't think so. No, Diane, because first of all, Boston, like who wants to go to Boston? It's so hot. It's like grimy. There's people everywhere. I don't think so.
Well, that was part of the reason, right? Like people think that Western Mass doesn't even exist. People in Boston, that's where all, that's where the legislators are. Like we could get a bus and we could go to Faneuil Hall and we could have popcorn and or maybe popcorn Fenway, and we could that, but I'm thinking, when I'm presenting this, I'm thinking, how is it, this idea of how do we let Eastern Mass know that Western Mass exists? So do you think, like, as opposed to going to Boston, my other idea is we bring Boston here for our next gathering, that we get like Mara Healy and all those people to like come to Northampton. What do you think of that?
I don't think so, Diane, because first of all, they don't care.
You gotta say it.
No, Diane, because I don't think they even want to come here. I mean, they hardly ever come here. We couldn't get them out here for hardly any of our events except on Zoom. You're talking about having them here in person.
Oh, yeah, that's our next gathering, I do think should be in person. And I'm just trying to diversify the people, right? And I know, we are not a political organization. I get that. But we want to be known to our colleagues across the state, through the over the river and through the woods, that we're doing good things here in Northampton. So I'm trying to present to you an idea of how do we bridge that what central Massachusetts gap, how do we let people know that we're now. The other thing we could do is a flash mob.
Jane.
No, Diane. No, because first of all, people don't even know what a flash mob is, but also we'd have to move around. I like to be super sedentary. I like to stay in my seat and do nothing all day. So I don't think, no,
flash
because
mob.
that would not really work.
Fantastic. Thank you both. Round of applause, everyone. We can't
Good
hear
job,
it.
Diane.
Good job. Good
Well done, Jane.
All right, that was round one. Round
Okay.
one. Ding. Round two, you both are going to present same ideas. All right, same ideas. So Jane, you'll start again. We're going to want to hear about Galapagos. All right. And this time, Diane, your job is to reply yes, but with everything. All right. And we'll see how that goes. That makes sense?
Okay. Yep. Okay.
All right.
So Diane, I have a new idea. So instead of just like, meeting at Look Park, how about if we go to the Galapagos Islands?
That sounds great. Yes. But I'm just wondering where are the Galapagos Islands again?
It's near Ecuador.
Oh, that seems pretty far away. Can we I'm concerned about the distance there.
I know,
That's
but
what
it's so cool there. It's so beautiful. And there's so many different tropical species and many different kinds of biodiversity, which, a lot of people in our membership are really interested in. Wouldn't it be cool, Diane?
Yes, but I think that there are many people who could be interested in that, but I'm not sure that it represents the whole of our organism. Not that we always have to do everything for the whole, but it feels like maybe quite a specific appeal for our next Northampton Neighbors event. I'd like it for, go ahead, please.
You think Antarctica would be better?
Penguins!
Now we're talking, right?
And yes, but I think, I'm all about the penguins, believe me. And, but I'm just wondering, Jane, if you could take it down a little bit. I like to think globally, but let's act locally here. And
People
maybe
always say that about me. Just take it down a few steps. It's unbelievable. It's the story of my life.
All right. Thank you. Well done. Thank you, Jane. All right, Diane, we're flipping it. So you're gonna start selling your idea again. I'd say, Boston, keep selling the Boston. And Jane, your role is to reply yes, but to all of her offers.
Okay. So I got another idea. So,
Great.
I know we talked about Eastern Massachusetts, and I'm thinking that there are the Route 2 corridor, right? Like let's go a little rural, like we are the original Boston Coach Highway, or I think it was called something other than a highway, but you get my drift. And then I think we go to the beach, coastal.
Oh, I like that idea, Dan. Yes, But here's the problem.
Hmm.
I mean, who has bathing suits this time of year?
Yeah. Well, I hear you on that. I was actually thinking a little further out because I'm kind of a planner. You know,
Mm.
like I'm not thinking the beach
Mhm.
now, but
Mhm.
I actually like the beach in September because
Mm.
it's cheaper
Mhm.
and there aren't as many horseflies and things like that. So, you know, I'm thinking we go all the way to P-Town, but it's that
Mm.
it is incorporating it. It really exemplifies our DEI and J statement that we're going out to
Mm.
P-Town, that we're diversifying, not only, you know, we're offering this opportunity to mix and mingle with lots of folks, artists and entrepreneurs, and we could get new what is it, that place, New Balance, to underwrite
Mm.
us. We could all wear
Mm.
sneakers.
Wow, Diane, you are really thinking creatively. I love it. It's great, but
Yeah.
there's a few little logistical problems getting
Yeah.
people all the way to P-Town. I'm just saying that we got a lot of little, it's all in the details, Diane. You're a great dreamer, you're a great planner, but it's the details that really screw us up all the time.
Okay, so Jane, you know, you may say that I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. And you know,
Good one.
All
and
right.
I think you could join us, you know, out on the beach, and the world could, you know, all of we could live as one.
I hope someday to do that.
Okay, scene, guys. Got it.
Okay, sorry.
That's amazing. Thank you. Okay,
That was
round
good, Diane.
2.
Okay.
Ding. Lovely. Oh yeah, thank you. Round of applause, round of applause. Now, third and final round.
Okay.
We're gonna brainstorm one more time. Galapagos, Boston. Let's do it. This time, Jane, when you present, you can just start again with that, basic, let's go
Mhm.
to the Galapagos.
Mhm.
And now, Diane, you reply, yes. And you're gonna add something to that.
Great.
Okay. And then it keeps
Okay.
going back and forth.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. Jane, action.
Okay, Diane. So
Jane.
I've been thinking a lot about how much I love being on a boat and I love nature and I love being far away. How about if our next adventure is the Galapagos Islands for like 10 days? Wouldn't that be cool?
Yes. And in addition to that, you know, I mean, I love the idea of travel. I think turtles are cool. And I think it, you know, it's a pretty cool offer for our Northampton neighbors to go to like see a new neighborhood, right? And like in a really different place.
Cool. I'm in.
So, all right, but here, keep building. So, Diane, you're going to say yes. We're going to the Galapagos.
Okay.
And when
Oh,
we
right.
get there, like,
Okay.
let's keep planning. Let's keep building.
Oh,
Let's
okay. Got it. Got it.
And then Jane, when you hear her, you're going to say yes. And so let's see like the levels that we can create here. So give her the Galapagos Island offer again.
So here's the thing, Jane, that I
all right,
think
Jane.
would, sorry. Oh, sorry.
No, I was going to restart, but no, go with.
Yeah, we can roll on because here's the thing is, you know, Northampton Neighbors is part of the Village to Village Network, which is an international organization. What if we went with the idea of introducing a village in the Galapagos, our sister village in the
Awesome.
Galapagos?
I love that. Diane, you are just giving me so many more ideas now. So if we have a sister village, we could go there, they could come here and they could bring the turtles. Wouldn't that be cool for the people who don't want to go on the trip? It would be amazing.
Right. Yes. And we could bring them maple syrup.
Okay. All right. We're in.
I think turtles like maple syrup.
Little known fact. In fact, I think that speaker's coming up in October. All right, Diane.
Yes.
Now it's your turn. Start again. Boston. We're going to go to Boston. And
Okay.
Jane, you're going to be replying with yes. And when we get to Boston, let's hear it and go back and forth. Like you're going to keep building on it. So action, Diane.
So Jane, I just found out about this bus. It's like these really big buses. You can get all the way to Boston for like $3, right? And it's really fun, and there's like Wi-Fi and everything else. And I think we should make it possible for our Northampton neighbors to storm Government Center.
I love it. Yes. And we could all wear costumes, and you could wear the gargoyle costume. I mean, we could really have fun with this. It'd be great.
Yes, and you know, I like that. I like that idea of the costumes, and do you think we should also have things like like we could bring signs and
Totally, totally. And maybe noisemakers and maybe a lot of food. And maybe we could really have just like a whole picnic when we get there. It'd be great.
I love food. Food is good. And
Yes.
maybe we could get somebody to write us a song. So that you like when you
Yeah.
were in camp and you could sing the song all the way in the bus and then on
Yeah,
the
I
way.
love
Like,
this.
I mean, you know, just like to see the other side of the state. We do have sister villages there, you know, we know some people there. We could like hook up with them. But I just really like the idea of bringing, we always say go west, but the people in Boston never do.
True, true. No, I love. Yes, and another thing we could do is we could bring them some of our joy.
Oh,
Gosh, you guys always know how to end it. Beautiful. Nicely done. Nicely done. That was round 3, everyone. Beautiful job.
Thank you, Diane. Thank you,
Thanks,
Kelsey. That was
Jake.
fun.
Thank you both. Thank you both. I'm so thrilled that you were able to participate. Now let's talk about it. Now let's
Okay.
talk about what just happened. So, to you both, Jane, Diane,
Yes, yes.
what did it feel like when we were doing this the first time when you were hearing no because?
Truth, it felt like before I retired from my state job in a hospital where I'd always come up with these really fantastic ideas and people would just shoot them down really fast. It felt like work. I mean, it really did. It felt like work. It didn't feel like, what I do now or, since I've retired from that job. It
Mhm.
just felt like, ugh, now I have to convince her. It was just a drag.
Mm-hmm. And what would be like feelings or emotions? Like it felt like work, and I'm getting from what I'm seeing physically that that's not a positive thing. Because what are the attributes to that make it
Yeah, I think it was frustrating
Mm.
because I had to kind of figure out who you were, Diane, and what was going to convince you. But I knew the game was that nothing was going to convince you.
Right. There wasn't, but it still has that impact. Diane, what
Yeah.
about for you?
Well, I'm happy to say it doesn't feel like my work at all.
Good.
The people that I work with every day are really not that. So that was pretty good. I think that, but in general, how it feels is I think it makes me scramble a little bit to try and think of something that you might agree to or you might like, and then I get off my own track because I have the attention span of a gnat. So it's so it derails me a bit. That does.
Yeah,
That sort of response is derailing for me.
100%. Yeah. I mean, I what I was seeing was like exhausting in that set. It just is so tiring to, keep coming back because it requires you to like pivot, like what you're saying, and also, or just invent again, and it's just like, you're just keep throwing. You're like always like, it's like, how about this? How about this? How about this? How about this? And yeah, derailing is a great word for it because that's like that throws you off like your track. And I think work, unfortunately, is a place where this happens a lot because it has that place of like, well, this is just how we've done things. You frequently will hear that. And again, it's coming from that safe, unsafe place that it's not so much like people are saying no because they're just like, I want to be difficult. Typically people are saying no because it's just not familiar, like something is happening that I'm hearing that is scary or a change. So, I find that it's not just out of like, to be obstructive, but to have this place of like, I don't know, I'm feeling off put. I'm feeling unsure. All right, let's jump ahead to yes, but, and Diane, you kick us off this time. What did that feel like?
Yes, but would actually feel to me to use that word obstructionist because it sometimes feels like and a wise man said, if you have an objection, please also have a solution or something like a solution. And so when you just get the but, it's more than a but. Butts are loaded, I think. And they are. And so that's how it feels to me is like, okay, now hang on here. It's not just that you disagree with me, but you are in opposition to me. I can handle disagreement more than butts feel like an opposition.
Interesting. Okay. What about for you, Jane?
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Not that you did this, Dan, but sometimes when people do the but to me, it feels a little patronizing.
Mm,
Like, I agree with you, but I really don't agree with you. You know, it's like a shell game. Like they're giving it, but then they're taking it away.
Okay.
mhm. Oh, that's great. I've never heard the shell game part, but yes, you have articulated exactly the experience people. So I've done this workshop a lot for folks in the workplace, and that is what I hear 100% of the time with this exercise is people like they'll say, "Give me no because all day long," compared to yes but, because it is like this that is even more kind of like uneven or imbalanced. It's like I'm starting
Right,
off like yes,
right,
and now I'm going to take it away.
right.
And I've heard people refer to that as the word but as a verbal eraser, so that whatever you have said up to that point, when you say but, everything that was said prior doesn't exist anymore.
Mm.
It does. That's not true. And I think that it does present in a way that like you're saying yes, but but we're gonna take it away. And it also is really challenging to move anywhere, and you're still end up in this place of it. Not only I've got to reshift, but now I'm not getting the because. If you
Right.
get the because, you have you have a reason.
Right.
Because it's presenting you with something that is the obstacle, but the yes but is just kind of diverting it. And so
Mm.
as the person on the other end, it's like,
Yeah.
well, where am I trying to go here with
Yeah.
this?
That's a really good point.
So would you say you were able to get anywhere between the two rounds with any of it?
Yeah, I mean, I felt movement. I mean, but it's incremental, right? But for me, with the 2 rounds or the whole 3 rounds, sorry.
I'm not talking a third round yet.
Oh, only no, I sorry, I heard the 3rd round. See, that's my gnat problem. But no, but actually, I don't.
No, it's
I
your
got
optimist problem,
right.
Diane.
That's true.
I got somewhere because even though it's not rewarding, sometimes it is still useful to me to bump up against stuff, because it may, or if I do have to pivot or any of those things, it just opens up, because that's, yeah. So sometimes it is useful. I don't know if it's movement, but it is useful. If
Okay.
that,
Jane.
I had a different reaction, Diane. I was just like going through my list in my head of all the other places I'd like to suggest to you. So I had like 10 other places. I was going to say, well, what about, I was like in my mind, let's go to New York, Montreal. Like I had all these other things because I was trying to like go from here down to like,
got it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No, I mean, but I also see your point, Diane, in that it is information. You're getting information, and so information is always helpful, no question. Now let's talk about round 3. Yes, ands. Let's first talk about what were the feelings, like what was going through your body and your mind.
it was exciting. It was fun. It was like, oh, I love Diane. We always have fun when we talk to each other. And it was like, let's keep building on it. You know what I mean? It was just good, fun, exciting, 2 minds becoming more than 2. That's how it felt.
Diane?
That's like ice cream. I think those sort of conversations for me, when that happens, and certainly Jane, it more often happens with you, just in life, but that just feels like something that is, it's fleeting though. That's
Yeah.
why it's like ice cream. It's tasty, it's creamy, it's sweet, and then it does melt. And then it's how do you take that to the next step? How do you build that? Because you can have a really good conversation, and I think you hear what I'm saying. I don't have to say it again, but my fabulous ice cream analogy.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I think that's what, I mean, the energy totally shifts, it's like
Yeah.
it even between, it's like you two know each other, you have fun together. And we're having fun with the no, because and the yes, but I mean, it wasn't
Yeah.
drudgery like in that regard. But as soon as it was yes, and it was like the windows were open, the
Mhm.
breeze was coming through, it was just like so
Yeah.
exhilarating. And
Totally.
yeah, and it's thrilling to be told yes. It's thrilling to be told that your idea is good, and not only that there's agreement, and now I'm going to make an offering, like I'm going to have this chance to be generous and like give, and receive, and that is such powerful medicine, to hear yes, and to feel constructive in that. And I see what you're saying, Diane, because frequently people will be like, well, you can't yes and the whole day long, or else you'd be in the Galapagos with like maple syrup and like turtles, and who can afford that? And that just doesn't make sense, and you're right. Absolutely. We do need lane markers, and we do need containers. I mean, ask my wife, I need a container like all day, every day. Like, just please hold everything I'm feeling right now, or else like I will like turn into steam. And so the yes and is giving you this opportunity to find the bridge. That's what it's doing, is like,
Yeah.
where can we, like, coming at each other with yes ands as opposed to yes but or no because, is giving you the chance to build together and hear from each other. So this exercise was done at a nonprofit who worked with food insecurity, and the staff came together. They took it from experiencing one of these workshops, and they just did it on their own. They did the yes and, because they wanted to work on just burnout. It's like hard work, and they were really feeling it. Staff was like, we need to address this. So they played yes and they got to the thing of like, the solution was a hot tub on top of the building.
All right.
So
Nice.
of course it's like, pie in the sky, dream big. And the reality is like, no, that's like structurally unsound, and also bad optics, like, we're in food insecurity. People, I've got your box for the month. All right, thumbs up. Oh, like, that's not gonna look good. So what the idea came was like, what we need is a space for us in the workplace that's going to allow us to just recharge. And so they
Got it.
realized they had this closet that was holding, a few like cleaning supplies, like the mop bucket, what have you. But it was big enough if they cleared it out and cleaned it up for a nice chair, a nice lamp, a sound machine, and like comfy like layers of pillows and stuff. And so it's like they had this room now to go in and just like scream, cry, like fall asleep for 20 minutes, like whatever. But it's like that, the yes and spirit is what drove it there, and being allowed to just think about like where do we want to go, and when we can come at each other with that space of like, of feeling of goodwill, and of assuming goodwill, and a yes and place, I think we'll end up in dreamy places, and even with people who we've just met, when you can lead with that yes and place, there's just there's a lot of possibility, and it makes me emotional, people, just thinking and talking about it, seriously. But it's 3:44, and we said,
Yes.
I want to close. Mark, wait, I always close this workshop because here's the bottom line. I'm going to close with my favorite quote in the whole wide world by one of my favorite people in the whole wide world, Maya Angelou. She said, people are always going to forget. I've learned people are going to forget what you tell them. People are going to forget what you did, but they're never going to forget how you made them feel. So I feel, leading with that yes and place, with where you're coming from, with anyone you come into contact with, we'll all be in a better place. So thank you. And thank you, Jane. And thank you, Diane.
Okay.
Thank you.
listen,
Thank you, Kelsey.
Thank you for inviting us. This is
Thanks to all of you. This was great. One thing that struck me about it was the idiosyncrasy of an improv. It's like a happening. It's like Anyone coming in the middle would have thought we were from the Nature Conservancy because we had turtles, penguins, and horseflies. And who would have predicted that? On a more serious note, the qualities of non-judgment and being present are precisely the most important qualities a therapist should have, interestingly. And when I watched the first run of No Because, I'm a couples therapist. I saw what I see in my office all week long, and I felt within myself a sinking, a kind of a, oh man, why even bother? And it turns out that the most important thing I try to get couples to do in couples therapy is just to consider what the other person is saying, even if they think they're completely wrong. Just consider it for a moment. That's the opposite of no because. So this was very real for me. I want to say a quick word about Northampton Neighbors, and then I want to get to questions. Northampton Neighbors is a member-based nonprofit offering volunteer services, programs, and events to older people who want to continue living independent, engaged lives in their homes and communities with a little neighborly help. We launched 5 years ago, and by the time COVID arrived, we had delivered over 1,700 services to our then 1,000 members and provided a variety of ways for members to get together socially. We now have over 1,400 members. Anyone, anywhere can become a member of Northampton Neighbors. Those who are older than 55 and live in Northampton, Florence, and Leeds can receive services. After a pause during COVID-19, we are back to delivering services and holding social events for our members, which means for each other. Northampton Neighbors has no dues, fees, or charges for anything that we provide. This is very rare for organizations like ours. That means we have to work hard to find funds to keep the organization going. We hope you will make a contribution of any size to Northampton Neighbors. You can donate online at our website, www.northamptonneighbors.org, with either a credit card or PayPal, or by mailing your check to us at our address, which you'll find on our website. Again, thanks so much to the three of you for your participation today. And I don't think we have questions in chat, so I'm just going to open it up, and hopefully Nina can unmic people, or they can unmic themselves. I'm going to move to gallery view. And is there anyone who has a question they would like to add or a comment?
People can now unmute themselves.
I hear something really weird. So can I say, you know, Kelsey, I have been very fortunate to know you for some years now, and that last quote that you offered from Maya Angelou, I would say that on every occasion when I have seen you, I have left feeling better about myself and about you, and your world and what you do for us. So thank you, because I mean, I think you live that. And I don't know a lot of people who live inspirational quotes, you know. I mean, and I just want to, you know, it's something for me. I'm gonna have to get one and like try and do it. So thank you for that. And thank you too, because I think that so often for me, we are a very voicey organization. And this will also help me to, what you taught me today will help me to sort of hear differently as well as speak differently. I think I'm going to be listening for different words.
Interesting.
After hearing you sort of explain how I might present things, I think I might also hear a little bit differently and listen for more of the ands or something.
Sure. Yeah. Right. Like, what are your building blocks? You know.
Yeah.
What?
Okay. We have a question from Alicia Ralph. I believe.
Yes, that's my name. Thank you. My question to you, Kelsey, is how might you, when you were setting up the scenario at work for Diane, how might you propose using yes and, or how would you suggest the listeners in your meeting to use these same techniques with you? Like, how do you get others to buy in when you just kind of like show up? Because
Right. I mean, I honestly, there is nothing like actually doing it. So I would, if it's a brand new or we haven't even talked about it, I would spend like 10 minutes or 5 minutes, 5 minutes doing like, let's spend this time. We're just gonna, like we just did before, like come up with a very low stakes. It's not like it's not the objective of the meeting. We're not going to take that and now put into yes and. We're just going to, have like a fun icebreaker almost in a way. And then just have that experience back and forth. And if it's a small group, you could do it all at the same time. But if it's anything more than 6, I would say, people would be in pairs and they just keep getting to go back and forth with the yes and, because it's really like that experience of hearing it and the fun of going back and forth and building something. But I think if it's a brand new concept for folks, in terms of the yes and, I would start with keeping it a fun space. Does that make sense? Like having it be an exercise that is low stakes and feels safe for people. And in that regard. So I would literally play the game. Does that answer your question?
I may have missed the beginning of your talk, but I guess I was thinking the approach to listening and answering in a business meeting where you don't get to set the agenda where you ask. I was just kind of wondering if there were ways that you could bring that yes and approach to.
Okay.
Maybe I'm just not.
No, I get you, Alicia. I get you. I think I get you. I would, it's like kind of what Diane was just saying around what are we listening for? And so in that meeting setting, I listen for places of connection. So if, what is being presented in that meeting, are you saying like just in general going into the meeting, or now you're in a more contentious kind of space?
I was just thinking about how say you're at work and the new process is being given to you.
Okay.
So the feedback and the other things, I guess I'm just saying I wonder if there's a phrase or a something that sets people up to, I think this might not be the right format for asking this type of question, but I was just hoping
I'll tell you,
you might have some quick hack, but as you said, looking for a bridge so that you yourself can take on that approach to your thought process during.
It's kind of like allowing. So the hack is, loving something for 30 seconds and saying, let's go into this, and everything that we're, going to hear, we're going to find space for 30 seconds and stay in that space with that idea to find the part that's going to be the next step, kind of like that you can take and be like, yes, I can move forward with this.
Kelsey, I want you to go on and on and on about that. And we have 1 or 2 other questions.
Sorry, yes.
One is from Lisa.
Okay.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Kelsey, for your presentation and you guys for demonstrating. In a moment of, I don't know what, craziness, I signed up some weeks back for the intro class for comedy improv. Yay,
Lisa!
Bravest thing I've done in a while. But So, I mean, I do have kind of a absurd, spontaneous sense of, I don't know, whimsy, or so I'm just wondering, watching the demonstration, anything that you could say to prepare me, and how different it might be, or yeah.
Because you haven't started the classes yet, right?
No, I think the 24th, couple weeks.
There's nothing, you do not need any preparation, Lisa. You are 100% ready for this experience. And because it's really going to just be all the fun you can stand in. What is it, 90 minutes?
The class?
Yeah, are they like an hour?
I think so.
Yeah. You don't need any, seriously, I say this to all humans, you need no experience or preparation to step into improv comedy in particular, because I do believe you are improvising all day, every day. You just don't give yourself credit for it. So I mean, the bravest thing you've done is sign up for the class. Everything after this is just going to be a roller coaster, but it's going to be a fun roller. I mean, maybe that's a bad analogy. I love them, but you know,
My life is a roller coaster, so you know.
exactly.
I'll be at home then.
I want to get to a couple of other people. Kim, you had your hand up with a question. I don't know if you still do. And then Sue.
I did just put it in the chat, but I'll say it out loud too.
Good, thank you.
First of all, I just want to thank the three of you for the fun and inspiring demo. I just loved it. And also, Kelsey, my family has been following your performances for many years, and we always just so much enjoyed them. So I was wondering if you have any upcoming shows, any type of improv or any other kind of theater?
Sure do. Thanks for asking, Kim. I always have a first Saturday of every month at Happier Valley, which is on Route 9 in Hadley, happiervalley.com. I'm part of the group called the Understudies. And so that's the improvised musical. So 5 of us, 5 of us max. And this past month, we only had 3, but it was still great show. Yeah, Judy Hyde was there. She could tell you. So yeah, we do an improvised musical every first Saturday of the month at 7 o'clock, and you can get your tickets, but definitely get your tickets ahead of time because they always sell out. But that's the next show will be the May show.
Okay.
Sounds splendid. Thank you.
Sure.
And Sue.
Hi, I just wanted to say to Lisa that if you're in the 5 o'clock class, I'll be there too.
Oh,
Hey,
Good job, everybody. That's wonderful.
look forward to
Good.
playing with you, Sue.
It
So-
is. It's
Are
seriously.
you in the 5 o'clock class or the 6:30?
I'm in the 5 o'clock.
Yay.
I hope I have enough neurons.
Now we know, you already know somebody. That's cool.
All right, Mark,
And
I
I'm
know you're
taking
gonna
the
say something.
storytelling workshop tomorrow.
Oh, good, Judy. Super. Seriously, everyone, improv comedy classes are grown up recess. That's all it is.
Okay, if there's anyone else with a question, unmute yourself because I can't really necessarily see everybody if you have the Zoom symbol of a hand.
I don't see anyone.
And if not, I just want to thank Kelsey, especially Diane and Jane. It would have gone better if we'd had 2 less inhibited, just
So
tight
quiet.
people. But
Sudden
we got a
death.
lot out of it anyway. Thank you all. And thank you everyone for coming.
Thanks,
Thanks,
for having me.
Kelsey. Thanks, Kelsey.
everybody. Have a
You're
great rest of
great.
your day.
Thanks, Mark.
See you in a
Thanks,
few weeks.
Diane.
Bye-bye.
Bye.